All right, welcome back. We continue to talk about the Steelers as they beat Denver 26-21 to get to 2 wins, no losses, tied with Baltimore atop the AFC North. But when you look at it right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are a team that many people thought would go into the playoffs. Some think a long way. Andrew, has this changed after 2? If you felt that way, do you still feel that way watching 2 wins against teams they should have beaten? And quite frankly, with the kind of play that we saw, a quarterback should have maybe beaten them more so today than they did. Has your thought about the Pittsburgh Steelers gotten better or worse after these first 2 games?
Well, I feel great about them making the playoffs now that they're 2-0. I mean, 2-0 teams historically are a better than 50-50 proposition to make the playoffs, and now you even enhance those percentages and chances because there's an extra team. There are 7 teams. Kansas City struggled against Herbert today in L.A., and that was a surprise. But then again, I watched what Baltimore did again, blowing out a team that won a playoff game a year ago in Houston. So I still feel right now like the Steelers are a good bet to win double-digit games, but I will admit I'm a little bit disappointed with the way that they played today as opposed to what they did to the Giants last week on Monday night.
You know, I feel good about this team right now watching them. Historically, they get off to slow starts, and they're 2-0. That hasn't happened since, what, I think 2017. That's only a couple years, but historically, they get off to slow starts, and they don't play their best. Ben Roethlisberger looks, he's winning games out there for them. And that's the most important person on the field. That's the person I think Steelers fans need to believe in, and that's the person that's going to get them to double-digit wins. And potentially, you never know.
But are you stronger
games.
now?
They split games with the Ravens. The Ravens, they look invincible now, but maybe who knows?
I'm in the same exact place I was when the season started. Is that an option here? Can I pick that one?
Which was what?
Which was, let's see if Ben's arm falls off. Let's see how good this defense really is. Let's see what happens with the run game and how it shakes out. And after 2 games, it's quite obvious Ben is still developing timing, but there are times where he makes brilliant throws. Chase Claypool has been a big plus. Deontay Johnson has a little bit of time he needs to get started each game.
But you liked the Ravens more than the Steelers before the season started, Colin, right? See, I didn't. I liked Pittsburgh more, and I've got to walk that back a little bit now.
I don't. I think the Steelers were a tick behind the Ravens going into the season. I still feel that way. And I still feel like the Steelers look like a boxer in the first 2 or 3 rounds in these first 2 games that are just kind of feeling their way, and especially Ben Roethlisberger. And I think he's going to do nothing but get even better. He's rarely thrown the ball down the field. It's a bunch of 3-step, get-it-out kind of stuff. You saw the touchdown to Deontay Johnson today was that vintage Ben, even though he kind of threw it back a little bit of him. But I still think Ben's getting his feet underneath of him. Give me another 2-3 games to where the jury's still out for me, especially on the quarterback.
All right, let's talk about next week's opponent, Rich. You have the Houston Texans coming in here. From what I watched today, and I didn't watch the whole game, I was watching a lot of stuff, but I saw that Deshaun Watson's running for his life at times, and with this Steeler defense coming in, I would expect them to go after him and have a lot of success. Look at that game for me and tell me what the Steelers got to do to win it. I still feel like the Steelers' defense has to win games for them. They did it kind of today. I mean, they basically took a nap in the second half, but when it came down to it, they won the game at the end. And I think that's what the defense will continue to do. I just think as a Steeler fan, for these first couple weeks here, first few weeks, maybe 4 or 5 games, you're going to be on the edge of your seat. It's going to be a close game, even against an inferior opponent. That's who the Steelers are.
Yeah, but the defense shouldn't make you sweat it out. The defense shouldn't be having penalties.
I thought the game was over. I thought the game was over.
Right, so did I. And I think they've got, for me, they do have one, and I wasn't sure about this because I like this defense a lot. I think it is the best in the NFL on paper. But I think they've got a couple of Achilles heels, and that's Terrell Edmonds and their inside linebackers in coverage. And so for Houston, I watched that game today. They got killed. But they've also started with the toughest first 2 weeks of a season since the '68 Dolphins. They got the Chiefs and Ravens in back-to-back weeks. And I think Deshaun Watson's the type of quarterback to expose guys like Terrell Edmonds and Vince Williams in coverage.
Deshaun Watson's also the type of quarterback who gets sacked about 117 times next week because, Andrew, don't you feel as if he holds on to the football way too long?
Yeah, he does. He does. He's like Big Ben and Andrew Luck. He's going to take a hit to make a play, and he might end up injured because of it.
I don't disagree with you there. I think the Steelers are going to get to him and get to him in a big way. He puts up numbers. There's no question about it. Ask anybody that plays fantasy football. But Deshaun Watson just holds on to the football too long, and that is a recipe to get a free trip to AGH next week. You can't do that. It's a bad maneuver, and I don't see him having a ton of success because he tries to elongate plays, and that won't work against Steelers.
Yeah, you also have, I think that's a good point, Andrew, watching Devin Bush. It's been a historical problem around here, Rich. Tight ends get loose or big bodies get loose, and linebackers can't cover them. If I'm Houston, I'm trying to exploit that next week.
Well, you noticed at the end of the game they were going after Bush. I mean, I think a lot of us all noticed that, and even during the game, that's a problem here. He's got to get on the same page with everyone, and he's got to do it pretty quickly because tight ends basically have killed the Steelers over the years, and that could happen next week too. But, you know, I think the Steelers' defense is going to fix the issues that they have, and I think it'll be a close game again. But, you know, who knows? Who would have expected Jeff Driscoll to make this a game, right?
Well, he did because they allowed him in some. I think they just were not. I think they thought at halftime they had the game won, and that's a mistake in any level against any quarterback. And they found that out the hard way, but they came up with a play that won it. When we come back, we'll talk about some of the injuries that have occurred this week in the NFL, and is preseason needed? I know a lot of people say yes to that. A lot of people say no to that. How much of this injury stuff we've seen is traceable to not having a preseason? That's next, right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown.